Hello and welcome back to Sonic the Hedgehog Part 3. And in this part, things get a bit funkier with Spring Yard Zone. Which, I look at this now and I wonder, is this sort of the prototype Casino Night Zone? Because it does have that same feel to it. But unfortunately there's no pinball machines here, just springs and bouncy things. Oh, get up there, please. Yep, Sonic 1 doesn't have the spin dash. And a lot of the time you don't really mind, but it's moments like this which make you miss it. There, finally. And you're about to see an example of how the speed shoe can help you break the game, in a sense. Here we go, Now, something about the emulation of this game is that whenever I bounce on one of those star bouncers, I bounce on the bouncers, those star things, it makes a terrible sound like something's hitting the mic. I'm not sure if you picked it up, but it sounds awful. And it seems to be an issue with this particular emulation of the game. This is the one on the PS3 collection. I would still recommend it. Although saying that now, you're probably better off buying one of the downloadable versions off Wii U Store, Xbox Live, PSN, and so on. Or actually, I think the best version out now, which people might say, would be the iPhone version made by Christian Whitehead. And it's pretty much the same game you get here, except it includes Sonic. Of course it includes Sonic. It includes Tails and Knuckles. And there's special extra parts hidden for their abilities, which is good because I've played hacks of this game before where they put in Tails or Knuckles, and it's fun. But at the same time, these levels aren't really designed for those characters, so they end up just breaking the game. Look, Tails can fly over the levels. Knuckles can just climb up a big wall in Marble Zone and just essentially dodge all the underground lava pits. Which you might think is a good thing. But when you get to levels like, say, Labyrinth Zone, where it's all closed and a bit claustrophobic, Tails' ability to fly and Knuckles' climb and gliding abilities, they don't really help, per se. Because obviously those levels aren't designed for those characters. I mean, I'm not being too negative about it. I mean, if you re-release a game on various platforms, yeah, you should add extras. And it's a good thing those, having extra characters is a good extra. I'm just saying the fact that Sonic 1 was only designed for Sonic in mind is obvious when it comes to those extras, of course. Not sure if you heard it, but there's a wonderful doodle-doodle-doodle sound, which you hear when you collect 50 rings within a special stage. And that, my friends, is a continue, which might be a strange, ancient concept you're not familiar with. But if you've run out of lives, you activate a continue, I would say, and you start the game again with about 4 lives. So yeah, a continue is worth 4 lives. Because back in these days, if you run out of lives, there's no save feature, you would have to start the entire game all over again. Which isn't that bad once you consider how short games were back in the day. I mean, I've completed this in about an hour, really. An hour and 10 minutes, probably. To be more precise. And even then, it only took that long because I'm trying to get all these emeralds. And to be honest with you, I'll admit something now. I've only managed to complete this game legitimately with all 6 emeralds twice. That's probably because the randomness of the special stages kind of annoys me, keeps throwing me back into a pit, as I've stated before. But I think the real reason is I don't really try. Sometimes it's just more enjoyable to make your way through the game. Ooh, at least I would say the special stages are handled better here than in Sonic 2. Ooh, because they are strict. Those special stages in Sonic 2 require you to essentially memorise the layout of the pipes. And the 7, so they're just harder to get. And I like these half pikes here with the whole rotating spikes. Well, I don't shut off here, but you can sort of roll across them, and that's really a good thing to do. See, even with the first game, the physics were really good. Maybe not perfect, but that's my point. It's this 16-bit game feels better to play than Sonic the Hedgehog 4. And yes, I'm one of those people who complain about the physics, because to be fair, the physics they are the heart and soul of a platformer. They really are. If you get them wrong, the game just feels a bit off. So yes, in case you're wondering, yeah, I would rather play Sonic 1 than Sonic the Hedgehog 4. But enough about that. Did you hear that? I sort of let you hear that. Those sort of bounce sound effects. There's this very awkward sound effect, like someone's punching a mic or something. It's very disconcerting. You can see these traps here. They're sort of like pinball tables, but not really. For a game about speed, if you try and go fast as you possibly can, you'll just run into something. But then again, I never really thought about the Sonic games as sort of as speedy games. Which is obvious if you start out with this as your first Sonic game. But what I mean is, I essentially think of Sonic as a platformer that has speed elements in it, rather than a game that's all about speed. Oh, those armadillos are a pain. Well, like back in the day when I first played this, I sort of assumed they were like Proto Metal Sonics. And yes, I failed to make that jump there. There's an extra upper path there with extra rings. Oh well. If I had the spin dash, I could have maybe stopped myself and then tried that again. But alas, I don't. Onto the... I've lost track of the special stages. I think this is the 5th? Yes, it is actually. It's the 5th. And this one, it's... I found all the way back to the beginning. Yeah, this one's sort of a very twisty-turny path here. And yeah, this is the part... This, see, when it comes to these special stages, the idea that they just throw you into one of those pits is very evident here. I guess the best advice is to follow the inside. Well, I know, as this maze is rotating, which wall is the inside wall, which wall is the outside wall, might vary on your perspective. But fortunately, there is an occasional ring which sends you the right way. And you know what? I'm glad there's only 6 of these. It's a lot less of a hassle. Of course, there are various blocks here, which I haven't really explained, but they're sort of self-evident. Those annoying star bouncers. Blocks which speed up the maze or slow it down. And these are blocks which rotate it. Which can either help or hinder you, depending on your skill. And apparently in some of the leaked or hacked artwork, there are W blocks. So heaven knows what they did. Maybe warp zones? That's probably the best guess. But anyway, once I'm in the centre, and I have a lovely red ruby of a Chaos Emerald. And of course, you might have noticed the Chaos Emeralds do change between the classic and modern era. Not sure why. Anyway, Act 3 starts off with a big hill. And see, look, rolling is the only way to break the speed limit in this game. Again, these huge pits with springs makes me wonder, did they originally intend for like a casino spinball table? Spinball, because it's Sonic. Sonic didn't have a pinball game, he had a spinball game. Because that's how he rolls. And that's right. I can't avoid these platforms any longer. I have to endure them. Okay, these aren't really bad, but well, for a start, I find them claustrophobic more than slow. Yeah, particularly when enemies have those range attacks. Ugh, it's very annoying when you're trapped there. Anyway, I do like this zone, and I'm going to say maybe it doesn't get enough love. Because when people think of iconic zones from the classic games, you know, they think Sonic 1, oh, it has Green Hill and Labyrinth Zone. People remember Labyrinth Zone. And I suppose that's why Labyrinth Zone got a remake in Sonic Hedgehog 4. Sonic 4 the Hedgehog. In Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Which does seem peculiar to me, remaking Labyrinth Zone, because I thought people didn't like that as a group. But we're coming up to that watery death pit very soon. So you'll get to hear my thoughts on it. You know, I'll admit, but when it comes to this game, I'm probably overly positive about it. But then again, it's probably because I've played it, and if you play it, you can enjoy it more. Like, I didn't have Sonic 2 growing up, and when I started playing that again, I found it annoying. Because I kept getting hit by all the enemies. Oh, this is pathetic here. This is tragic. This is me trying to be epic, but I just can't quite do it. But yeah, once I played Sonic 2 a bit more, obviously I enjoyed it more. But even there, when we get to the later half of that game with the seahorses and the starfish, you just kept getting hit by enemies. But I'll get to that soon enough. And I love that text there that says cope. You know, thanks for the pick-me-ups, Sonic developers. And another one that says CPU. Computer lingo. Anyway, coming up here is the boss. Now, this is one of the parts which always makes me a bit nervous. It's not too difficult, but I could so easily mess this up. Now, but, you know, if you don't mind me saying, I think I defeat this guy fairly eloquently. And, yeah, that's what you do. You sort of wait for a block and then jump upwards. But, you know, that can go so wrong. You can get hit so easily. You got to be fast. And again, I do like this boss actually. The bosses are simple in the first game, but you know, there's a certain eloquency to them. And with that, we've done Spring Yard Zone. Please join me in the next part. We'll be taking a deep dive into Labyrinth Zone, of course.